Good morning, I'm Isaiah Jacob. Former Ohio State quarterback Lincoln Keenholz has made his decision to transfer to Louisville to join the Cardinals. After working behind Julian Sayin this season, Keenholz has 2 years of eligibility remaining. In the NFL yesterday, Carolina's bid to win its first division title since 2015 and first playoff berth since 2017 was put on hold. The Panthers fell to Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers 16-14, giving Tampa Bay the lead in the division. Now the Panthers need the Atlanta Falcons to defeat the Saints today at 1 to force a three-way tie that in turn will give the playoff spot to Carolina. Later on, with the NFC West title and the conference's number 1 seed on the line, the Seattle Seahawks got a 13-3 win against their division rival San Francisco 49ers. The Seahawks won their 7th straight, earning a first-round bye and home field advantage throughout the NFC playoffs. And then today at 1, the Battle of Ohio. The Browns travel to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. Myles Garrett is just 1 sack shy of the single-season record.
Oh, baby, it's time for On the Money because let's face it, it's more fun that way.
Sponsored by the Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
Here's Scotty Vegas and Dave Biddle.
Welcome to On the Money. 97.1 The Fan. I am Dave Biddle. I am joined by Scotty Vegas, producer Isaiah Jacob at the controls. Thank you for being with us on this Sunday morning as we still are a little depressed or a lot depressed about Ohio State CFP run, but we're going to try and work our way through it. We're going to talk some Julian Sayin on today's show. There's been a lot of Julian Sayin slander out there, and we're going to get into that. Maybe some of it's fair, maybe some of it's not. But Scotty Vegas, how you doing this morning?
Yeah, as you said, it's kind of been like a little hangover for a few days. I've had trouble watching a lot of these football games. I told my cousin who was in town, I said, right before the Ohio State game, I'm like, this next 30 hours is going to be absolutely incredible in the world of football because we're going to have that Ohio State-Miami game, and then we're going to sit back on New Year's Day and enjoy back-to-back playoff games. This is the dream come true. And then it was all ruined on New Year's Eve. And I'm so on New Year's Day, Dave, I'm just kind of hate watching the games. I'm just kind of sitting there, just kind of angry the whole day. And so, yeah, it's been brutal. Even watching these NFL games yesterday, I'm still not quite over that loss.
Yeah, it was a tough one, especially with Ohio State being favored by nearly 10. They didn't lead at any point in the game. And that pick six, and there was a lot of blame to go around on that pick six. Let's start with Julian Sayin because there's a lot of people. I think most people that I trust, even fans that you can tell are like that really know what they're talking about. I think most people are putting it on the offensive line. Now, did Julian look comfortable? No, he didn't. But he's got the likes of Reuben Bain and the guys throwing him to the turf. Like, that's going to rattle any quarterback. He needs to play better. And that pick six was awful. But there's plenty of blame to go around. Jeremiah didn't block at all on that play. I thought the play itself was a terrible play call. They had one earlier in the game. It was a quick screen to Carnell Tate, and Miami was right on it.
Yep.
And I was thinking, okay, maybe don't do this quick screen. Like, let's go that well one more time. And that was, you put yourself in a 14-0 hole. That was obviously too much to climb out of. They almost did. When they made it 17-14, Scott, I was like, here we go. Here we go. I said, momentum is a hell of a drug, as I said on Twitter. And it's true. Momentum, you could just feel it. And then they just couldn't capitalize on it. So, I still believe in Julian Sayin. He's a redshirt freshman, and I think a lot of the things that frustrate me, I don't think is necessarily his fault. Example, there's times I know he could run and get an easy first down, and he doesn't. I think that's Ryan Day coaching it out of him because we've heard quarterbacks in the past say that about Ryan Day.
We saw it with C.J. Stroud,
yes,
right? For an entire year until the playoffs.
Even Justin Fields talked about it. Like, he ran, but he's had to almost talk Coach Day into it or go against his orders. Now, people say, well, that doesn't make any sense. I think Coach Day takes it way too far. And if you ask him, if you gave him truth serum, he'd tell you he doesn't want his quarterbacks getting hurt. I get that. But my go-to has always been Joe Burrow. I just need somebody like a Joe Burrow. You don't need to be Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen, although those guys are really good. Be like a Joe Burrow. I'm talking about as a running quarterback. You don't think of Joe Burrow as a running quarterback because he's not. But what does he do once or twice every game? Picks up a first down with his legs, right? And if Julian Sayin would do that once or twice a game, that would be perfect. And now I think I'm going to use Carson Beck as my example, which I can't believe I'm saying. Just be like Carson Beck in that CFP quarterfinal and get some yards with your legs. Carson Beck, who we're all calling a statue entering the game. So that's something Ohio State needs to add. They're playing basically a man down, and then the defense can key on everything else. They don't have to worry about the quarterback running at all. So
I 100% agree with you on you have got to have a quarterback that can pick up yards on the ground, because look at the 4 quarterbacks that are still left in this playoff. All of those quarterbacks can run the football. And what was a big factor for Ohio State last year? Will Howard was able to pick up some big time first downs with his feet. You brought up Carson Beck. You know, those killed Ohio State, right? You would have 3rd and 7 and you feel like you're in okay position, and Carson Beck would just somehow pick up 8, you know, and those were just such backbreakers. And we're putting a lot of the criticism on the offense. The defense also in those last 2 games against Indiana and against Miami, there were 3rd downs where it's like, you got to get off the field, and they couldn't quite get that stop on 3rd down to get off the field. Now, in no way am I saying, okay, the defense is why they didn't win that game against Miami. It really was the offensive line. But the other thing is, Dave, think about this. You had, comparing this year to last year in the run, you have a quarterback, a first-year quarterback, Sayin, versus a ton of experience with Will Howard. But you also had a running back this year, who was a freshman running back, versus last year you had 2 guys, 2 studs that were seniors that were really good in pass protection and really good at catching the ball out of the backfield, both of them.
The best running back tandem that we've seen in our lifetime, because we both missed. I barely missed Archie and Pete. You missed them by a few more years than I did. And you know, there's been even some long, you know, when I bring up Archie and Pete's the best tailback tandem, some people mention, like, what about Brockington? And, you know, and I forget who was with him in the 60s, but certainly the best tailback tandem that we've seen at Ohio State. And Quinshawn was technically a junior, I think, but yeah, you're right. Veteran running backs who also were Trey Henderson turning into like an awesome pass pro as a protector is not something I had on my bingo card at all. You're right. I mean, and Will Howard had, you know, a handful of rushing touchdowns last year, like you said. He picked up key 3rd downs and 4th downs with his legs. And what else did that do? The defense had to account for that. Mm-hmm. They had to account for that, which then helped Quinshawn and Trey, who didn't need that much help, but that helped them. And this year, what do you have? The defense has no respect for the quarterback to run. So it did. I mean, and the offensive line still has to play better. I went back and watched it, which was tough. I couldn't go through the whole game, but I watched it. I mean, Miami wasn't doing anything exotic, man. I mean, they're just doing, it was typical, it was things that high school defenses do, you know, junior high, stunts and twists. This was nothing exotic. But they would do that, and it would look like it was Ohio State had never seen it before. And, you know, Tyler Bowen came in and he replaced Justin Fry. Justin Fry did not like recruiting, but he could coach up an offensive line. And disappointing results first year with Tyler Bowen. Nice guy. I think he's a good recruiter. He looks like giant Scotty Scheffler. He seriously does. He looks like giant Scotty Scheffler. And Scheffler's not a small guy by any means. But, man, he's the running game coordinator, the offensive line coach. And they just got their butts handed to them these last 2 games. So, and I don't know what Ryan Day's thinking right now about offensive coordinator, but I hope what he's not thinking is promote from within.
Me too.
They need to go outside the program and find an offensive coordinator. And when he was CEO, there's been 1 year he actually did it. They win the national championship, right? Now, his boy Chip Kelly went to Northwestern, so, you know, that's not going to be who it is, but not that he couldn't talk Chip out of that. But bringing someone from the outside, do not promote from within. I mean, and who would you even promote from within?
Yeah.
The tight ends coach? Certainly not Tyler Bowen.
I want to also bring up to you, Dave, because I brought this up last hour, and I think we only talked about it for a minute or 2, but I think it's a huge topic, is transfer portal, and you've got to hit on it, right? So the teams that are still left in the Final Four, Ole Miss, 15 of 22 starters are from the transfer portal. So that's 68% of their starters are transfer portal guys. For Indiana, that's 64%, 14 of 22 starters. For Miami, 55% of their starters are from the transfer portal, 12 of 22. And for Oregon, it's 10 of 22. And I do believe that Ohio State had some swings and misses big time in the transfer portal this last year.
Yeah.
And I know there was a lot of excitement when they brought in Max Clare. And look, I'm not saying Max Clare didn't have a big year, but they tied up some money in a position that I think that they were already okay in, and they didn't exploit teams using the tight end all that much this year. So that was a swing and miss. The Bo Atkinson swing and miss, C.J. Donaldson. I mean, okay players.
Ethan Onyanwa was the biggest.
That was the biggest swing and miss.
He's making 7 figures.
Yeah.
Good for him. no hate to him.
Well,
because I'm sure he had other offers in Ohio State, and it wasn't exactly. I heard it. I'll just say what I heard it was. I don't know why they don't put this stuff out there. $1.5 million is what I heard for Ethan Onionwa.
Yeah,
and they got down they kept losing guys. Like I think Ian Moore was ended up being like the 9th man. Like he played a lot in this previous game against Miami, so he wasn't even in the top 9. It wasn't for a while. We were joking, man, that's an expensive 6th man. Then he wasn't the 6th man, but that's an expensive 7th man on the O line. Yeah, they did. It was the polar opposite, Scott, of what they did in 2024.
Exactly. And I don't think that's talked about enough. The misses in the transfer portal. And possibly, Dave, on this, I do think that this is a factor, is the calendar last year when the portal opens up. What's Ohio State focused on? Ohio State's focused on going to try and win the college football playoffs, right? While this whole portal is going on. And compare that to some of the other teams that improved their team. And guess what? You're seeing Oregon and Indiana go through this now where they're trying to go win a national championship. They're getting ready to play in the semifinals. And what? The portal is opening up and they're taking all these guys and trying to recruit portal guys and get ready for games. It's a lot to ask.
And Ohio State has already had 14 scholarship players enter their name in the portal. 14. Now, none of them are big surprises, but there's a couple that – I was like, oh, man, I wish he wouldn't have done that. And they can come back. Maybe it's an NIL negotiation ploy, but Aaron Scott Jr. is one that I wanted back. Young man from Springfield, was a 5-star recruit corner, did a great job as a gunner this year. I thought he was in line to play a lot of corner next year. Hopefully they can get him back. Bryce West is another one. 2 of the top corner recruits in the country in that class. That would have been the 2024 class. Both guys in their second year this year, so hopefully they can get those guys back. But some of the other guys, I expected it, like C.J. Hicks. I think you and I were talking before the show. I think Lincoln Keenholtz going to Louisville is a great fit for him. I'm happy for him. So yeah, they've lost a lot of guys, but nobody that's a super impact player. Although again, I think a couple of those young DBs I would have liked to stick around, Aaron Scott and Bryce West.
So. And think back to that national championship team and the transfer portal, the additions that they had that year, where you brought in Will Howard, obviously. You brought in Quinshawn Judkins. You brought in Caleb Downs. I know Sayin didn't play last year, but you brought in Sayin, and you brought in Will Kazmarek, who's been an important tight end for the team.
And Seth McLaughlin. Even though he didn't participate in the CFP, he was the Remington Award winner. They went 6 for 6.
Yes. Yeah. So you absolutely hit. And then compare that to the transfer portal class that you had coming in for this year, and those are almost strikeout swing and misses, right? I mean, and the other thing, Dave, and we'll get into this throughout the hour, is there has to be an emphasis now on making sure going forward that you are getting an elite kicker. Right? Like there's too many times that Ohio State has had huge games that are lost because of kicks throughout the years. Like even you brought up that end of the first half where you missed that kick against Miami. But it's also a psychological thing of, gosh, there's no chance you can attempt another field goal in this game because of how badly he's missing.
Does having a bye in the college football playoff hurt the better teams, or is that just a lame excuse? We debate that next. This is On the Money.
If you consider yourself a Buckeye fan, you've come to the right place. This is your heritage sports talker and home of Ohio State Athletics, The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Here, care is where you need it. With over 350 primary care providers in Central Ohio, expert care is minutes away. See how we care for all of you at mountcarmelforyou.com. Here, heart care helps you heal faster. Advanced, minimally invasive procedures mean less time recovering and more living life. See how we care for all of you at mountcarmelforyou.com.
We ask parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
Nathan has taught me to embrace the moment. Age-wise, I'm in my late 60s. I'm old enough to be his grandfather. Will he be embarrassed to acknowledge me as his dad? I think the most important thing we can do is let them know that they're safe, that they're valued and cared for and loved, and that they're important.
I knew I wanted to be adopted by him because of how he taught me to be the person who I am today. And it's coming from a dad that didn't expect to become a dad. And I feel very proud to be his son.
That was what he needed, and he was what I needed. Every day is full of new opportunities. That's what it's been about, realizing the simple things that it takes to make such a huge difference in these kids' lives.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care at adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Hey, Max, you look absolutely dashing in that purple tie. Ready to harness the world?
You bet, Daisy. I'm ready as I'll ever be. And might I say, your purple tie really pops with your vest.
Thanks. I almost went with a cape, but didn't want to come across as pretentious.
Nonsense. Anyone in our line of work should rock a cape.
You might be onto something, Max.
Phew, so here we go. First day on the job. We've got this, right?
Right. Don't forget, we both graduated from Dogs Inc. with honors.
Which means I can guide my human around a busy city with ease.
And I can give my human a restful night.
I hope my human is kind and loving.
And I hope mine likes wet kisses and zoomies.
Ready to make a difference?
Born ready. Let's go.
Discover how extraordinary dogs like Daisy and Max change lives at no cost to the recipients. Visit dogsinc.org.
The best words to hear at the TSA security checkpoint? You're good to go. All it takes is a little preparation. Get to the airport early, bring a carry-on bag that fits in the overhead, and have an acceptable ID. Not all state-issued IDs will cut it. Check out tsa.gov/ID and see which TSA acceptable IDs make the grade, like a real ID or passport.
Before you jet, do a little prep, and you're good to go. Check out tsa.gov/ID or the MyTSA app.
Leaky pipes, no hot water, issues with your sewer or drains? When plumbing problems strike, Logan Services is ready to help you out. We offer free estimates on water heaters, water softeners, and drain lines. Whether it's a surprise leak or an aging water tank, we'll give you an honest recommendation so you can take action fast. Don't wait. Schedule your free plumbing estimate now. Fast, friendly service you trust from Logan Services.
We are the keepers of the wild, America's original and most invested conservationists. For more than 80 years, we've been committed to conserving wildlife and the natural landscapes that define our nation. From rugged alpine ridgelines to peaceful tall grass prairies, we've supported the conservation of more than 36 million acres of American wildlands. Our funding has led to cleaner water, fresher air, and improved wildlife habitat. From abundant fish and waterfowl populations to robust deer and elk herds, nothing is more important than maintaining wild spaces for adventurers to explore and wildlife to thrive. We are America's hunters and target shooters, stewards of the American outdoors.
America's hunters and target shooters, along with firearm, ammunition, and archery manufacturers, have invested more than $46 billion to help state fish and wildlife agencies manage and protect wildlife and wildlands across America. For more information, visit outdoorstewards.org.
Being diagnosed with leukemia, lymphoma, myeloma, or one of over 100 other types of blood cancer makes people want more time to do the things they love. That means more time to be artists, prom dates, world travelers, and moms. We are Blood Cancer United, the world's leading organization focused solely on blood cancer research, support, and advocacy. We do the most for more people with blood cancer, so people with blood cancer can do more of whatever they want. Blood Cancer United. Join us at bloodcancerunited.org.
All your favorite fan shows are on YouTube, along with those fake YouTube ads like Chew This Gum and It Grows New Teeth. Experience the splendor of Bo sitting in his closet, Timmy Hall's gouty gold chains, and Matty Ice wearing a coat in 90-degree weather. It's all there. Head to YouTube and subscribe today. Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We'll see a mix of clouds and sunshine here for your Sunday, with temperatures warming up into the lower 30s here for this afternoon. Winds will be fairly light at about 5 miles per hour. And then as we head into the work week, we are tracking a nice warming trend as we get back up into the mid-40s here on Monday with a partly cloudy sky. And that's a look at your 10 weather impact forecast. I'm meteorologist Aaron White here on 97.1 The Fan.
The two most mature people working at the radio station. And that's just because they wear pants. The pervert and the skivvies. Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays at noon.
The Fan. And now back to a show featuring two dudes who've been kicked out of their homes by angry wives. This pretty much sums up every show we have here on The Fan. You're listening to On the Money.
Sponsored by the Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
So is it all about good old Uncle Mo? Momentum. It's kind of crazy how these first 2 years in the college football playoff, we have now seen the teams that have gotten the bye are 1-7 in the quarterfinals, including 1-3 this year, as Indiana was the only team. They didn't mind having the bye. They're like, we'll just take the bye and win 38-3 over Alabama. But every other team that had the bye this year, Texas Tech obviously got beat really bad against Oregon, 23-0. Georgia loses 34-39, Ole Miss, and of course Ohio State loses by 10 to Miami. So it's kind of an interesting trend now. After year one, it was 0-4, and people started to be like, oh, maybe there's something to this. However, there was that factor that Arizona State was one of those teams that got a bye, and so was Boise State. So that kind of threw things off a little bit. And so it was like, I don't know how much I buy into this bye theory. And then you see year two, and maybe even more so, Dave, than the record of 1-7. You look at how these teams are starting their game offensively in the quarterfinals, and like Ohio State, obviously just an absolute mess in the first half, 0 points at halftime. Texas Tech obviously scored 0 the entire game against Oregon. Alabama scored 3. Alabama actually had to play the first round game.
Yeah.
But you see these slow starts from these teams that had the bye, and you start to kind of wonder if this is a factor. Do you buy it, or is it just all an excuse to you?
Jeez, it's tough. I do think it has some effect. I think it does have some effect, but it's still a relatively small sample size, especially when you factor in, Boise and Arizona State last year. And granted, Arizona State gave Texas a heck of a game. Like, that was a really good, Arizona State came to play. So, but yeah, you look at it. I mean, I know like Ole Miss ended up winning anyway, but Ole Miss jumped out on Georgia pretty good. Not anything crazy, but Ole Miss led that game early. Then there was like a defense. Then, Georgia scored back-to-back touchdowns, one on a defensive touchdown on a fumble return. So it took them a little bit to get going. Then, of course, Ole Miss came back because Chambliss we were talking earlier about running quarterbacks. Man, there was one play where he looked like he was going to get sacked by 3 different people. He ran back almost into the end zone and ran around him. And then I was like, wow, that was a play. Wow, that kid should just go to the NFL. I know he's not that big, but or just, get, $7 million to come back and play one more year of college football. But, I don't know, man. I'm torn on this. I do think there's too long of a layoff. I wish they would do it more like the NFL, where if you have a bye, that only means you're missing 1 week. And I know they're never going to do this because of money, Scott, but like I would love to see them get rid of the conference championship games, especially now we're going to get into later, like the college football playoff expansion, what we think is going to happen there. They're going to continue to expand this playoff. There's no doubt in my mind. Again, follow the money. They're going to expand to 16 at some point. And the conference championship games are just null and void for me. But because they make money for the television companies, I mean, look how good Indiana, Ohio State did with ratings this year. I think it did it do better than Ohio State, Michigan?
It was close.
Yeah, and that says a lot, so they're not going to get rid of it. But that would be the perfect thing to do. Take a page out of the NFL book. When you reward a team for a bye, it should absolutely be a reward. There shouldn't be any even debate. Well, is this really a reward, giving them 3.5 weeks off? That's too long. But I also think part of it is an excuse. I think Miami was just, and I'm example number 1 on this, exhibit A, so to speak. I don't think any of us were giving Miami enough respect. Now, part of that is because I watched them play against Louisville, and that was not the same team that we saw. And they also lost to SMU. Couldn't even get to the conference championship game of a terrible conference, but we knew they were talented. They're better than I thought, so give respect to Miami, but I'm a little on the fence here. What do you think?
Here's how I would fix it, and I agree with you. As far as on the fence of whether it really is a big factor, but for me, I think what it should be is if you're going to award teams like the NFL, if you earn the bye, you earn the top 4, you also have earned now a home playoff game. So like 5 is playing 12 in the first round, and they are getting the home game. So they are rewarded for being in the top 8, but the top 4 then have the disadvantage of losing out on having a home playoff game. So I would love to see it be, yes, you still stay at 12. Yes, 5 through 8 still have to play an extra game, but that 1 through 4 also still get the advantage of having a home game. That, to me, would fix the whole thing.
Yes, the quarterfinals should be on campus.
Yes.
And why won't they be? Because they're trying to have their cake and eating it, too.
Of course.
College football.
As you said, money.
Yeah, and the bowl ties. It's like you can't continue to. It was almost doable when it was a 4-team playoff. Certainly during the BCS era, it was just 2 teams making it. Okay, holding on to the bowl traditions. I kind of liked it. Then what they're trying to do now is ridiculous, and it's going to get even more ridiculous the more you expand the playoff. Okay, I mean, already Notre Dame's opting out. A lot of other teams, big-time teams, probably would have, but they're in conferences that would have fined them hundreds of thousands of dollars, so they didn't. But you can't keep expanding the playoff and keep having all these bowl ties. Now, you can do it for the semifinals and the finals. I'm okay with that being at neutral sites, but you're right. Ohio State, this sounds like an excuse because it is, but Ohio State, Miami should have been here in Columbus.
Yes, it should have been. Yeah. It should have been a quarterfinal game here in Columbus. So the crazy thing to me, too, and we talk about all these other games and opt-outs and stuff, is people still love watching all these other bowl games, whether it's a playoff or not. In fact, there were 8.7 million viewers of the Pop-Tart Bowl, Dave, which the Pop-Tart Bowl actually had more viewers than the NBA Conference Finals.
That doesn't surprise me.
The Pop-Tart Bowl.
Yeah,
it was
football just
BYU versus Georgia Tech. That was the meaningless bowl game, but had more viewers than the NBA Conference Finals.
So not the NBA Finals themselves, but the conference. But both conferences.
Yeah.
Interesting. That doesn't surprise. I don't know how you feel about this. I used to love the NBA, like growing up. Like I'd be watching pregame shows. What was the Willow Bay like? Yeah,
Inside the NBA.
Yeah, no, that was
Inside Stuff.
Yeah, NBA Inside Stuff. Yes, I used to watch the pregame. And I do love. I see why everybody loves like Ernie Johnson and Shaq and Charles Barkley and Kenny Smith. I've watched them enough to realize those guys are hilarious and they do a great job. But like, I don't really watch the NBA nearly as much. I do, I guess, a little bit in the playoffs. So this kind of throws it off because conference finals are obviously in the playoffs, but football is just king, man. Mm-hmm. And the Pop-Tarts Bowl is kind of taken off. But you can't keep doing this. You can't. We're trying to preserve the Cotton Bowl. Like, why?
Yeah.
Why? That they should not be hosting a quarterfinal. If you want to do it like rotating for the semifinals between the Rose Bowl and the Orange Bowl and the Sugar Bowl, the Classic Bowls, that's fine. And then have the championship game at one of those sites. But to try and hold on to these bowl traditions, Fiesta Bowl being another one, you can't have it both ways, especially when they go to 16 teams. You're still going to do all these bowl tie-ins. You're totally right. They should do 2. They should get rid of the conference championship games, and then they should have, if they're going to do 16, first 2 rounds at home.
Well, not only that, Dave, but I don't know if you saw, I'm sure you did, the ticket prices for those quarterfinal games. So like the Cotton Bowl, the Rose Bowl, all those like quarterfinal sites were having a hard time selling out their tickets, and I saw there were tickets to get into the Cotton Bowl for like $30.
Here's a story for you. One of my good buddies that I work with at Bucknuts, Jonah Booker, bought tickets for him and his wife and his son to go see Ohio State play at the Rose Bowl. Right, bought him a few of them like a month ago or so, right? And then when Indiana won, he tried to sell the tickets. He couldn't get anywhere near.
Yeah,
he just wanted face value. Couldn't get any for the Rose Bowl.
Crazy.
There's hardly anybody from Alabama. Like Indiana fans travel, but not enough to drive the prices up because nobody from Alabama traveled, relatively speaking. So yeah, to your point, he couldn't even like unload Rose Bowl tickets in the playoffs.
But if we did that on home campuses,
right,
those tickets would be absolutely outrageous. Think of, as you said, Miami coming up to Columbus and Ohio State, and how Columbus would have played up that playoff game. It would have been absolutely incredible. All right, we're going to take a quick 2-minute timeout, and then we're going to build a parlay together. We're going to build a Super Bowl winner with a college football national championship. Let's try and make some money. This is On the Money.
This is Pause Before You Play, and it's time for more game day picks from local sports fans. You're on the air. Who you got?
Actually, I'm not betting, just chilling and watching the game.
I know that move, a pause. Sounds like you've got a winning strategy.
Exactly. After I set limits and recognized the risk, I knew it was time to stop.
Now that is responsible betting, folks. Sports are fast. Betting shouldn't be. Make a plan at pausebeforeyouplay.org. That's pausebeforeyouplay.org.
You know a thing or two about the moments in life that matter. You've seized those moments to embrace joy, accomplish great things, and build meaningful relationships. Is it time now to sit back and reflect on a life well lived? Maybe. Or maybe there's more to be done. Maybe this is the most important moment you've encountered yet. By volunteering with AmeriCorps seniors, you can seize the moment, lend a hand, and get back more than you give. We connect you to local volunteer organizations with opportunities that fit your schedule and match your interests. Through AmeriCorps seniors, you can support people in times of need and make your community stronger. You can become a companion to your older neighbors, brightening their days with friendship. You can even become a mentor for young people, serving as a role model and enriching their lives. Are you ready to seize your moment? Visit AmeriCorps.gov/yourmoment and get started today.
Common man, a radio veteran, has a large hemorrhoid. Timmy Hall, a good, clean boy, moonlights as man's hemorrhoid. Common Man and Timmy.
Weekdays at 3.
The Fab. Scotty Vegas is still offering player props at his kids' soccer games. This is On the Money.
Sponsored by the Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
All right, so we're still a little upset, or a lot upset about Ohio State's CFP loss to Miami. But we're going to try and turn the page here. Let's win some money.
Yeah.
That tends to cheer people up. All right, we're going to try and do a 2-leg parlay. We're going to parlay the Super Bowl winner with the national championship winner in college football. All right, let's start with the Super Bowl winner. I was telling you, you know what? Now that the Rams aren't the favorite, maybe there's some value on the Rams because the Seahawks are now the favorite. Yeah, but they're so close. Like the Seahawks are your favorite to win the Super Bowl, plus 440. Rams are right behind them at 5-1, have the second best odds. And the Broncos have the best odds in the AFC. They're 8.5 to 1. They're tied with the Eagles 8.5 to 1. Then the Bills are 10 to 1. Patriots 11 to 1. Texans 12 to 1. I mean, someone has to win the AFC. I'm definitely going to, whoever wins the NFC is going to beat them. But you know what? I've been saying the Rams, but it's so close now with the Seahawks, and the Seahawks have the first round bye.
So we had a fun exercise with a group of us where we were looking at all the NFL teams that we thought still had a chance to win the Super Bowl. And I think I got to about 11 deep as far as teams that I think legit you could make a case for winning the Super Bowl. Yes, Seahawks, obviously. Yes, Rams. Broncos, because they're going to be at the top of the AFC. Eagles are your defending champs, have a crazy amount of talent. Bills, of course, with Josh Allen, they could make a run. Patriots, they're at the top of the AFC too, and they're looking great. Houston, I feel like with that defense, they're getting hot at the right time. C.J. Stroud, it wouldn't shock me if the Houston Texans made the run.
Yeah, their defense, like you said, their defense is legit.
The Jags are extremely hot right now, playing well. Baltimore, they were a preseason favorite. If they win today, they sneak their way in. They would have a home first game. I could even be talked into Baltimore, and that's about probably where I'd put the line.
Packers.
Yeah, maybe Packers, maybe Bears, but I don't think so. I put the line at it looks like it's 9 teams deep. I put the line under Baltimore, but yeah, you could even maybe make a case for Chicago and Green Bay.
If the Chargers weren't decimated on their O-line,
yeah,
I would say they'd be in the mix too.
Right?
But they
it's so wide open.
What, they lost like 3 offensive linemen or something like that. Yeah, I've never seen the NFL like this.
No,
ever.
No. So, all right, the three of us have to come up with a team. What team, Isaiah, do you have a team that you are starting to feel strong about?
In the NFL, I would say the two that I'm between right now, I'm still pretty high on the Rams.
Yeah.
In my mind, there's 2 things you got to figure out. Who do I believe has a high likelihood of getting there to the Super Bowl? Because if you can get to the game, then you have a chance. As long as you can get there, you have a chance. And so that's where, like, the Broncos are really enticing because they do have that home playoff run the whole way. Could they get to the Super Bowl? That would probably be an easier path. Whereas once you get to the game, do you have the quarterback play and the defense to actually win? Do I believe that you could win the Super Bowl if you got there? Like, that's where the Texans, I think, are a really great team. Their defense is great. But do I think that if they got to the Super Bowl, they would truly be able to win the game? And I don't believe they can. That's why I keep on leaning on the Rams and the Bills. I'm kind of right in between them because if the Bills get there with Josh Allen, I think Josh Allen could will them to a Super Bowl if they can get there. But the problem with the Bills is they're probably going to be the 6 or 7 seed. So their path there is going to be a lot harder.
Tough path.
So
tough path.
I lean Rams right now. I'll lock in with the Rams.
The Rams are a tough path too, but the fact that they can get the 5 seed. Because initially I was like, oh my gosh, if they're the 6, then they have to go to Philly in week 1 and still win 2 more on the road to get to the Super Bowl. That's a heck of a road.
It is, but you look at them. This is why I believe in the Rams. I don't think Sean McVay gets it. Everybody knows he's a good coach. I feel like he's not talked about enough. He's been to 2 Super Bowls already. He's won a Super Bowl. His quarterbacks won a Super Bowl, and they won a Super Bowl together. And they've done a great job of building back their defense.
Stud wide receivers.
Yeah, that's the thing. I believe in the Rams now. Obviously, I believe in them a lot more if they had that bye, but 490. I tell you what, though, you can't tell us this because they have a game tonight, which is pretty cool the way the schedule's set up, that this is the AFC North Championship game tonight. But if you told me, you mentioned the Ravens, if you told me the Ravens were definitely in this thing, I'd be like, oh, because to your point, like, could you see if the Ravens somehow made the Super Bowl, could we see Lamar Jackson winning one game? Yes.
Lamar and Derrick Henry? Yeah.
Yeah. And, and John Harbaugh's won a Super Bowl. So plus almost, you're getting like 20-1 odds right now on the Ravens. So it depends on how you want to look at it. If I had to pick one team right now, I think I'd pick the Rams. But you're getting plus 490. Ravens are getting 20-1.
I could definitely be talked into the value of the Ravens. And one thing I think to keep an eye on tonight is kind of keep a look at those Super Bowl odds while that Ravens-Steelers game is happening, right? See if the Ravens get out to lead and it looks like they're going to win that game, then maybe it is time to sprinkle a little Baltimore because they will have the home playoff game to start. So, all right, that's NFL. Now we go to college, which, by the way, is also, in my mind, pretty wide open. The only team that I think would surprise me to win it all is Ole Miss. It wouldn't surprise me if Miami does it. It wouldn't surprise me at all if Oregon does it. And Indiana is your favorite. I think because I think most likely Miami beats Ole Miss, I think the value is on Miami.
At plus 330. I agree. I think that's the parlay. I would probably go, plus basically 5-1 on the Rams to win the Super Bowl, and then plus 330 Miami.
So you're looking about 23-24-1.
That's pretty good odds. I mean, what I saw from Miami, I'm not saying they're better than Indiana or Oregon, but they're better than I thought. And in one game, they could certainly beat those teams. And those two teams, the two favorites, have to play each other. Indiana and Oregon are your favorites right now. Indiana plus 130, Oregon 3-1, but they have to play each other. Then Miami's right there at plus 330, and all the way back at plus 570 is Ole Miss. Here's the thing about Ole Miss that concerns me. Like, they kept their assistant coaching staff together, even the guys that were going to go with Lane Kiffin for the first couple games. But now there's talk they might not have all those guys. And, I felt like they had this galvanizing effect. Like, everybody's writing them off. Like, oh, you think we're just Lane Kiffin? We'll show you. And they did. They've already had, it's house money for them now. But I'm a little concerned now, even if they do have most of these coaches, it's kind of in limbo what's happening right now with the portal opening up. And Buckeye fans, we're going to get to the portal. Don't worry. We've talked a little bit about it already. 14 Ohio State scholarship players have already entered the portal. So I'm a little concerned about the distractions there. If you have 6 of your coaches that are kind of in limbo, it's not like you have a 2-week break here. The game is less than a week away now. So that concerns me a little bit. So I like going with Miami, and I like going with the Rams.
Yeah, I think Miami and the Rams, which we said about 24-1. If you wanted to sprinkle a little Miami and Baltimore, you're looking more like 70-1. Isaiah, are we crazy in throwing Baltimore in there? And you like, are you with us on Miami?
I'm with you guys. The only pause that I would put on Miami, I like the Miami pick. The only pause that I would put is that Miami Ole Miss game. It feels like it's two teams that caught lightning in a bottle in the first round. Everyone probably was leaning, obviously Georgia probably to win that Ole Miss game, and then everyone was obviously leaning for Ohio State to beat Miami. And so going into the next round, there's going to be one team that probably underperforms, and their Super Bowl was last week when they got the win. Obviously Ole Miss without Lane Kiffin, that was a really emotional win, getting that against Georgia. And then Miami upsetting Ohio State, huge emotional win. Which team can get past the huge emotional win and take it in the national championship and actually really catch lightning in a bottle and make it all the way? And so for that, I still lean Miami just because of the pass rush and Carson Beck with the experience. They looked great last week. Baltimore in the NFL, I think is between them and the Bills is the best value because you get the great quarterback play, but the Ravens have the better value because if they do beat the Steelers, then they get the home field advantage. That's the biggest part of it, and there's no other team that right now is sitting at 20-1 odds that in the first round could be playing at home. And so that's a huge, huge advantage.
Miami, I almost hate saying this, guys. Miami reminds me a little bit of Ohio State last year. 10-2 in the regular season, left for dead. You don't even make your conference championship games. It's not like you lose in the conference. You don't even make it. You're sitting at home. Now, Ohio State was favored against Tennessee in the first round last year. Miami was an underdog against Texas A&M. Now, because the game was at A&M, I think they were like a 2.5-point dog. Obviously, you give 3 points for home field advantage. So, but they were underdogs in both games, including the largest point spread, in the quarterfinal round of 9.5. So Miami's been under. Now everybody is singing their praises. So yeah, the mental side of sports is huge. So now Miami's the favorite going into this Ole Miss game. I still think Miami's going to win. They remind me too much of Ohio State last year, a really talented team that went 10-2. Everybody left them and now look at them. They've awoken.
The comparisons actually of Miami this year and Ohio State last year are wild to think about because you have that veteran quarterback. But how about this? You mentioned that Miami's been an underdog in their first two. How about on Selection Sunday, they were an underdog to even get into the playoff?
Oh, they need to thank Duke profusely because I am convinced, and I know I'm not breaking news here, if Virginia beats Duke, 100% Virginia's in and Notre Dame's in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and no James Madison, no Miami. It's crazy.
It's amazing how the dominoes had to fall because on that Selection Sunday, they were 4-1 to even get
make it
into the playoffs. So they were an underdog on Selection Sunday. They overcame that 4-1, and then they win on the road at Texas A&M. They win against Ohio State, and now they are a favorite in your semifinal to make it to the championship.
Reminds me of another Ohio State comparison. Reminds me a little bit of Ohio State in 2014. A
little bit.
Now, yeah. I don't think it was 4-1. I think most people thought after 59-0, Ohio State's probably going to get that number 4 spot.
Yeah.
Well, are they really going to drop Baylor and TCU?
But it felt kind of 50-50, right?
Yeah. It wasn't as much of a Miami was a surprise. We were there at the casino like, oh my gosh, because I just thought I'm like, they're not going to. Are they really going to leave Notre Dame out? And then yeah, they are. And I think they got it right because I don't think they got it right having 2 group of 5 teams in there. But like if it came down to Notre Dame and Miami that close, how would you keep? Same record, basically the same resume, but Miami did beat them head-to-head. I mean, the mistake the committee made, in my opinion, was always having Notre Dame like a few spots ahead of Miami up until the time it actually mattered.
Well, and the crazy thing to think about is, what if Notre Dame had gotten in? Would they have, because you and I were saying we thought they were a very dangerous team if they got in.
You called it like you're like, who's like turned their stuff around, look really, you said Notre Dame. And then, to your point, Scott, if they would have made it, they would have had the 4th best odds.
Yes. Yeah.
They did not make a 12 team. They were at the 4th, according to Vegas, they were the 4th best team and they didn't make it.
It's amazing. It's amazing how the bracket shakeup really changed things because also if you were to go by last year's formula, how they did the bracket where the conference champions got the byes, then Ohio State's road would have been to play, they would have been the 5 seed. They would have played James Madison, the 12, to play Tulane, the 4. So it's crazy, the what ifs, all the different scenarios and all that. But the fact that Miami goes 4-1 to get in on Selection Sunday, when it gets in, and then upsets A&M as a slight underdog, and then upsets Ohio State. It's wild, and to think that they are in this position, I absolutely believe that they can win it all.
Up next is more NFL betting chatter. We got the Browns at the Bengals today and much more. This is On the Money.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
Hey, Aaron, what New Year's resolutions are you and I making this year?
Are you saying that I'm supposed to make New Year's resolutions for both of us?
Aaron, you know that thing where someone buys a gift and then someone else comes along and says, tell them it's from both of us.
Yeah?
Well, I invented that.
Jerry, I'll share my New Year's resolutions with you, but only if you promise to follow through on every one of them.
You've got it, Aaron.
Resolution number 2. I resolved to figure out new ways to make plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians more affordable for everyone.
Like how we give everyone $500 in free plumbing services whenever they buy a new water heater?
That's right, because every unexpected expense should be softened by an unexpected gift.
Like how we give people back all the money they paid us to repair their old HVAC system when they finally replace it with a new one?
That's right, up to $1,500.
We really care about people.
That's right, Jerry, and that's always resolution number 1.
Get Eco.
ECO.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner.
Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Chronic pain can feel like it's never going to end. But at QC Kinetics here in Columbus, there is a new treatment providing rapid relief. It's called stem wave therapy.
It has fundamentally changed the way I look at cases after 30 years in practice. So when we talk about regenerative medicine, we're talking about these types of devices.
Dr. Tony DeCesaro, one of the nation's authorities on stem wave therapy.
So basically, it's a healing machine. They cause the body to help to heal by increasing blood flow.
This is more than treatment. It's hope.
So this device being a healing device, when I talk to my patients about it, I tell them it's diagnostic and therapeutic. We're going to find out today if it's right for you.
Right now, you can try your first treatment for just $49 and see if StemWave is the right option for you. Only $49, with many patients reporting relief within the next day.
It's about giving hope.
QC Kinetics. Harness the power of StemWave and get relief now. Call for your consultation here in Columbus. 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544.
You wanted to be cool, which led you to smoking, which led to a pack a day. Then you met that special someone, which led to starting a life with them, which led to wanting to live longer, which led to quitting. Then you heard you may be at risk for lung cancer, which led you to getting a low-dose CT scan. If you smoked, get scanned. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
Are you tired of running out of space? Check out Menards Self-Storage Facility. Menards Self-Storage offers the most convenient and secure self-storage in the area. Options include features like 24/7 access, video surveillance, and on-site management. Menards has warehouse units at the best prices in the area, and your first month is free. They're going quickly, so reserve yours now at menardsselfstorage.com. Unit and offer details may vary by facility.
Save big money at Menards.
Hey there, Jane Lynch here. You want to hear something funny? Too bad. You want to hear something uplifting that will inspire you? Good. Because today, I want to talk to you about Direct Relief, a humanitarian organization that does seriously good work when it counts. Fires, hurricanes, earthquakes. When disaster strikes, Direct Relief immediately shows up with medicines, medical supplies, and everything doctors and nurses need to save lives. Let's ship her out! Every day across the United States and around the world, they're making an enormous difference. If someone needs help, Direct Relief helps. No politics, no red tape. Hey, what you doing over there?
Oh, I'm packing insulin for kids with diabetes.
See, every box here is literally a lifeline for someone in critical need. So check them out at directrelief.org. You might just bring a smile to someone's face.
It all connects. The girl who walks for hours to bring home the family's water, the school she can't attend most days, her little brother's belly laugh, her dreams of being a teacher, an engineer, the mayor. It all connects. But at Child Fund, so do we, through everything we do, so every child can grow up healthy, educated, and safe. Because we need each other. Learn more at childfund.org.
Love football, love wings. Put those bad boys together and you get Austin and Byrne live at Roosters.
Presented by Bryant Heating and Cooling.
Large amounts of football and all the donkey sauce you can handle. Mondays on the Fans YouTube channel.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Patriot Air Comfort Systems and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep your home comfortable. The Fan.
Dave Biddle named his own dog Parlay. This is On the Money.
Sponsored by the Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
We, of course, are talking college football in Ohio State throughout the entire show. A couple hypothetical national championship lines. Miami would be a 4.5-point dog to Indiana. Ole Miss would be a 7.5-point dog to Indiana. Miami would be a 4.5-point dog. Miami would be a 2-point underdog to Oregon. And if it's Ole Miss and Oregon, Oregon would be a 3.5-point favorite over Ole Miss in the look-ahead lines for the college football national championship. But let's talk a little NFL. We got one huge game that matters tonight, and it is the Steelers and the Ravens. The Ravens are a 3.5-point favorite. And Dave, it is game 272 on the NFL schedule. And it is a love that it's coming down to that. And that's going to determine the division. It's going to determine the 4 seed in the AFC. Loser is completely out. And my initial feeling is, gosh, I like the Ravens. Lamar Jackson is back. The fact that you watched that Steelers game last week against the Browns and how anemic that offense was with Aaron Rodgers, with DK Metcalf out, and everything in me is like, yeah, Ravens minus 3.5. However, I'm going to throw a stat out at you, and this stat, I couldn't believe it when I read it. Since 2005, the underdog in the Ravens-Steelers series is 30-12 against the spread. 30-12. That's 71% of the time the underdog is the play in the series. And in the regular season, the underdog, when it's Mike Tomlin versus John Harbaugh, the underdog is 25-3 against the spread. So that plus 3.5,
and it's
starting to look a little more attractive.
And the game's in Pittsburgh.
It's in Pittsburgh. Yeah. Everything. Gosh, the eye test says take the Ravens, with Lamar back and all that. But gosh, the history says bet the underdog.
Yeah, and Derrick Henry looked like, was he hitting the wall? He's hitting that 31-year-old wall that running backs hit early in the year, fumbling, just didn't look, and then bam, he's turned back into Hall of Fame Derrick Henry. But Lamar's still a little gimpy, though. He's not like 100%
Correct,
Lamar.
Yeah.
If he was 100% Lamar, I would say, okay, I think they're going to go in there and take care of business. The Steelers are motivated. They're at home. I'm going to stay away from this game. If I had to bet, though, I think I would take Steelers point spread, just based on what you said about that insane stat. Jeez, what you said 30-12? That is insane.
Yeah.
The underdog for the Steelers and Ravens, and the game's in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And you're getting the hook. I would take the 3.5 points if I was betting on this game. And because then, the Ravens could, you could still win the bet if the Ravens win the game by 3. So yeah, give me the Steelers plus 3.5.
Yeah, and when we talk sample size in betting, usually you want to see the big enough sample size. We talked about how the team with the bye in college football was 1-7. It just also still feels like not a huge sample size. It's starting to get bigger, right? Seeing 1-7, but the fact that we have the sample size of 25-7, that's a lot of numbers to throw at you. I'm kind of on the plus 3.5. All right, other NFL today. I know you wanted to talk a little bit about the Bengals. You have a couple angles, maybe perhaps on that game.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of that game. That's such a weird game, with it being like the last week of the season, and the Bengals are saying everybody's going to play, but okay, you get to the third quarter and you think, all right, let's get Joe Burrow out of there. You
made the case on unders to me during the break, and I thought that was kind of interesting.
I need to find T. Higgins, because T. Higgins is a guy, Burrow's probably going to stay in there as long as he can, but they might have already have a prearranged agreement, like, dude, we're going to get you out of there at some point. Maybe not. T. Higgins is a guy with dealing with the concussions and everything. He's been in and out. He's a guy that if the over-unders are just acting like, he's going to be regular T. Higgins, I would look into the under. He's a guy I could see them just not playing in the second half, regardless of the situation. Even if he's completely healthy, he's going to play today, as of now. This is just a weird game. And I will say this, the Bengals are favored by 7.5, like you said. They're at home. And normally I think, well, what are the Browns playing for? They're going to be just playing for a draft pick. If you're Kevin Stefanski, you don't care about the draft pick. There's a lot of talk that this is going to be, even if the Browns win, they could go their separate ways. Kevin Stefanski doesn't care about trying to tank this game. He's going to want to win this game, especially if it's his last game as the Browns coach. So, I think both teams are going to try to win, but I would be very, very, very cautious about this one, because maybe go some unders, because I just don't have a feel for this game, and 7.5 seems a lot. I guess if I had to do the point spread, if I had to bet on you gave me $100, you have to bet on the point spread. I would take Browns plus 7.5.
So going back to the Ravens a little bit and we talked last segment about trying to figure out Super Bowl futures, trying to take a team that we think is offering value. We said the Ravens are currently 20-1 to win the Super Bowl. Do they kind of, for you, they do for me, give off the vibes similar of Miami, where if they find their way in, they are a dangerous team to make a run. Like
Definitely.
We said, Miami was an underdog just to make the playoffs on Selection Sunday. Then, okay, you get in, and then at that point, everything's up for grabs, right? Like in Miami, it was in the situation there where they had to go on the road, but they won that first game, got a little momentum, then beat Ohio State. I kind of feel that same connection with Baltimore that, gosh, just get in. Remember, this is a team that started out, 1-5? I think 1-5 is how the Ravens started the year. So they feel like they are lucky to be even in the position on the last week to make the playoffs. And then if you make it, then all bets are off. Like I think that this is a team that's talented enough to make a run. They were a preseason Super Bowl favorite, Dave.
Yeah, it's interesting. They definitely would be dangerous. And you just wonder about Lamar's health. Obviously, he's been healthy. He's back playing, but he's dealt with a back injury, hamstring, ankle, and knee issues this year.
Yeah, that is a lot.
He's like 80% Lamar. They probably can't. But if you get MVP Lamar, oh, absolutely. And I still, whatever you want to say about John Harbaugh, I still think he's a good coach.
Yeah. I'm with you. And there was a lot of talk about, okay, Tomlin and Harbaugh. Obviously, one of them is going to miss the playoffs. Will they be back? That's going to be a fun discussion for second hour.
Oh, yeah. That's one of the things we're going to get into in the second hour. Is the loser of tonight's game, the losing coach, is this going to be his last game there? All right, first hour of the show is in the books. Stick around for the second hour. This is On the Money.
If you've recently seen a photo of an older Baker Mayfield fresh off a bender, it's just Bo Bishop. Bishop and Friends.
Weekdays from 9 to noon.
The Fan.
This is Pause Before You Play, and it's time for more game day picks from local sports fans. You're on the air. Who you got?
Actually, I'm not betting, just chilling and watching the game.
I know that move. A pause. Sounds like you've got a winning strategy.
Exactly. After I set limits and recognized the risk, I knew it was time to stop.
Now that is responsible betting, folks. Sports are fast. Betting shouldn't be. Make a plan at pausebeforeyouplay.org. That's pausebeforeyouplay.org.
Around the world, Children International and friends like you are giving children in poverty a chance to grow and thrive, to be healthy, to succeed in school, and achieve great things. How do we do it? In the best way possible, by helping ensure access to healthcare, nutrition, and educational opportunities. And most importantly, by empowering youths and their families to get out of poverty and into employment through life skills, computer, and job training. The very tools they need to break the cycle of poverty and build futures full of promise. Because every child deserves a chance to realize their full and best potential. Learn more about how Children International is empowering children and families by going to children.org today. That's children.org.
My mom is a veteran and she was injured in the line of duty.
I hurt my leg in a training accident when she was only 2 years old.
She had 7 different surgeries over the span of 9 years, and there were tons of complications.
I couldn't be the mom my kids needed me to be.
She missed so much.
After my last surgery, I got an infection so bad I thought it was going to kill me.
I told her she couldn't leave me yet. There was still so much she had to see. I hadn't even graduated.
I'm doing much better now. I may have lost my leg, but I've gained so much. I'm an active part of my kids' lives.
She can kick a mean soccer ball.
DAV's been there for me and my family. Through thick and thin, they've had our back.
Every year, DAV helps more than 1 million veterans like Sandy get the health and disability benefits they've earned so they can achieve victories great and small.
My victory is getting my life back. I got my joy back.
We got our mom back, thanks to DAV.
Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
At National Geographic Society, we believe in the power of wonder. It drives us to explore, pushes us to see the world differently, moves us to action. And we believe that today, wonder is more essential than ever.
Wow.
That's why we're supporting a new generation of explorers to ask big questions, make breakthroughs, and bring the future closer. Wonder awaits. Will you join us? Visit natgeo.org/wonder.
Broadcasting live from the McDaniel GM Superstore Studios. Driving excellence since 1916. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. WBNS HD1 Columbus.
Good morning, I'm Isaiah Jacob. Former Ohio State quarterback Lincoln Keenholz has made his decision to transfer to Louisville to join the Cardinals. After working behind Julian Sayin this season, Keenholz has 2 years of eligibility remaining. In the NFL yesterday, Carolina's bid to win its first division title since 2015 and first playoff berth since 2017 was put on hold. The Panthers fell to Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers 16-14, giving Tampa Bay the lead in the division. Now the Panthers need the Atlanta Falcons to defeat the Saints today at 1 to force a three-way tie that in turn will give the playoff spot to Carolina. Later on, with the NFC West title and the conference's number 1 seed on the line, the Seattle Seahawks got a 13-3 win against their division rival San Francisco 49ers. The Seahawks won their 7th straight, earning a first-round bye and home field advantage throughout the NFC playoffs. And then today at 1, the Battle of Ohio. The Browns travel to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. Myles Garrett is just 1 sack shy of the single-season record.
Some people golf on Sunday mornings. Some people place bets on the people playing golf on Sunday mornings. This is On the Money.
Sponsored by the Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
Welcome back to On the Money, 97.1 The Fan. I am Dave Biddle. I'm joined by Scott Prokop. We, of course, like to call him Scotty Vegas. Producer Isaiah Jacob at the controls. Happy to have you guys with us on this Sunday morning. We're talking about a lot of stuff. We're talking NFL betting, college football betting, Ohio State looking ahead to next year, the portal. We're going to have some this or that. Lots going on right now.
And we've canceled the parlay party.
We're,
no reason.
We're putting the parlay party on hold this week for obvious reasons. But, I saw somebody in the YouTube chat that just heard Jacob's or Isaiah. Jeez, there I go again. Calling you Jacob and not Isaiah. Heard Isaiah's SportsCenter update, and they're like, oh, Lincoln's going to Louisville. Yeah, if you're just tuning in, Lincoln Keenholz is transferring to Louisville, and that is a great fit for him. I'm happy for that young man. It was pretty clear he was going to transfer somewhere. Scotty, I was guessing maybe like in Iowa with their quarterback, transfer now, but I think this is a great fit because he gets to go down there and play for Jeff Brom, who does a good job with quarterbacks, does a really good job with quarterbacks. And he's got 2 years left. For those who don't know, Louisville's got like really good facilities. They're in the ACC. That's a winnable. just ask Duke. That's a win. You might not get in the playoff, but it's a winnable conference. And I'm happy for Lincoln Keenholz. I bet he's going to go down there and play well.
I think it's absolutely perfect. And I will tell you, there's some Buckeyes that transfer out that you don't necessarily root for. Lincoln Keenholz will be very easy for Buckeye fans, I think, to root for. Number one, going to Louisville now, like that's no threat. Go win the ACC. Go be an absolute have a great season in the ACC. And like he's such a likable guy, right? He came in here a little bit of an underdog story and really competed. And so I think he'll do very well. Louisville scored a ton of points. By the way, Louisville beat Miami this year. This was a Louisville team that finished 8-4 in the regular season. And so, I think this is a perfect fit for him.
I'll never forget when they went to White House last year and they're standing out there on the front lawn and they're doing the picture. And I'm like, why is there this Secret Service guy right in the middle of all the players? Like, they really need a Secret Service guy. And then I'm like, obviously, they know what they're doing. Then I'm like, oh, wait, that's Lincoln Keenholz. It was just something about the way he looked. He just looked like he was like Secret Service. I'm like, he was, for those who don't know, he came out of Pierre, South Dakota. I always thought it was Pierre. It's spelled like Pierre, but they pronounce it Pierre, South Dakota. And he was the USA Today National High School Athlete of the Year. They didn't break it up by sport. They didn't break it up by how big your school was or anything. It was one boy and one girl. He was the boy because he was so damn good at football, basketball, and baseball. I'm convinced he could have been a Major League Baseball player if he wanted to be, but he wants to be in the NFL. And, Jeff Brom's a good guy they can possibly get him there. Look what the Saints rookie quarterback's doing this year from Louisville.
No doubt. And, it's funny because here at the station, we do we're involved kind of with the Cardale Jones charity softball game. And guess who won the home run derby in back-to-back years? It was Lincoln Kienholz. And he just was crushing those balls. So quite the athlete, and wish nothing but success to him at Louisville. It'll be fun to track him. Remember, some of the quarterbacks and what I was alluding to earlier that you root for and you don't root for. When Kyle McCord went to Syracuse, I got to be honest with you, I didn't become a Syracuse fan and wasn't pulling for Kyle McCord, but I will for Lincoln.
I was ready to be a Cal fan this year, but Devin Brown got beat up by their true freshman. It's easy to see why. That true freshman for Cal is pretty good, and he's going to come back. He's not one of these that broke out, and he's going to leave Cal. He's going to stick around. Because that's too bad for Devin Brown. I don't know what I imagine Devin's just going to stay at Cal for one more year. But yeah, I feel a lot more like about Lincoln Kienholz like I did Devin Brown. All right, back to Ohio State football. For those that haven't seen, they've lost 14 guys to the portal already. No huge names. I mean, some guys that came in as huge names. I mean, C.J. Hicks was a 5-star recruit. He's taken his talents elsewhere. Now, can these guys return to Ohio State? Yes, they can. This has happened in the past. A couple of guys have entered the portal this year from Ohio State, previously entered it and came back. Bryson Rogers, 2 years ago after his true freshman year, entered the portal, came back. Now he's gone again. He's probably going to go to South Florida. He's from Tampa, and now, Heartline's there. That makes so much sense. Same thing with Sam Dixon. He was Sam Williams Dixon, the running back. He entered his name in the portal last year, decided against it, came back to Ohio State. He's now in the portal again. So, could an Aaron Scott Jr., who's entered his name in the portal, could he come back to Ohio State? Yes. You got to think maybe it's a little unlikely. Bryce West is another one that I didn't like seeing in the portal. One that really surprised me, we know Jaden Fielding didn't really have a good didn't really do a good job in clutch moments. Like overall, if you look
putting it lightly.
Overall, if you look at his numbers, like they weren't that bad. Like on paper, then you think of the kicks he missed. It's like, oh geez. And I'm thinking, okay, well at least they have Jackson Corville, right? They brought him in for Ball State. I don't know how he didn't beat out Jaden Fielding, but he didn't. But at least he has the 2 years left because he never redshirted before there. Then Jackson Corville enters the portals. They have no kickers right now. I'm sure they're going to get a kicker from the portal. I have no doubt about it. I don't know who it's going to be, but that's one I didn't have on my list was Jackson Corville transferring 1 year after transferring in. He must have been like, you didn't think I was better than Fielding? I'm out.
And we have got to pass around a collection plate to get the NIL to get a kicker, right? Because it has cost Ohio State so much over the last several years. Talk to me, though, and I mentioned obviously now kicker is going to be a very important position that they go after in the portal. Talk to me, though, a little bit about some of these guys that are coming in for visits and some of the positions that Ohio State will target this year in the transfer portal, because I will tell you, I think a big reason why Ohio State didn't get to that point this year of where they were in the national championship game was because of swings and misses this year in the portal. And they were so good at it the year that they won the national championship. So many huge playmakers from that transfer portal this last year. Kind of a strikeout. I mean, C.J. Donaldson had a couple good moments, had some touchdowns for Ohio State, but overall, you'd say a little bit of a swing and the miss. Max Clare was kind of the big name get, and while he did some good things, didn't have the year that I think most Buckeye fans expected to, at least stats-wise. And then, of course, a couple offensive line swings and misses as well.
They're looking at a lot of guys. They've already brought in a few guys for visits. There's a really good linebacker from Pitt who's in the portal, and there's a lot of talk Ohio State might lead for him. They're looking at wide receivers. Running back's going to be big because you have James Peoples enter the portal, Sam Dixon now enter the portal. C.J. Donaldson is out now. I think Bo Jackson and Isaiah West, that's a good like building block right there. And they still have Turbo Rogers as well. And they're bringing the young man from Delaware, Hayes, in as a running back, as a true freshman this year. No question they got to get a running back in the portal. And they're looking at a few. No doubt they've got to get defensive linemen. You might say they have to get offensive linemen, but if nobody turns pro, they actually have a lot of guys coming back that I believe in. Like Austin Saravell getting hurt was. Now, I thought Ian Moore came in and played well at left tackle for a redshirt freshman. I believe in him. I thought Josh Padilla came in. I was disappointed Gabe Van Sickle, his first start did not go well at all. But then Padilla came in. They got a lot of guys coming back, presuming Luke Montgomery doesn't go pro, which I don't think he will, or Carson Hinsman. Hinsman's a fourth-year junior, did not walk on senior day, so that was a good sign. Saravell, I think, will be back. All those guys will be back. Phillip Daniels will be back. Padilla, Van Sickle, all those guys coming back. So I don't think they're going to go for an offensive lineman. Some people they got to go for an offensive lineman. Maybe they will. But we saw what happened last year. They paid $1.5 million for Ethan Onion when he couldn't even barely crack the 2 deep, which is still amazing. But definitely they've got to get a defensive end and a defensive tackle. They've got to get a linebacker. Oh, safety. The guy from Minnesota would be, but everybody wants him, Coy Parrish. That would be But that is one that I think Ohio State, if the money, they could get outbid, but as long as the money is close, that'd be such a good fit for that young man. You can be like, do you see what Caleb Downs did? That'd be you.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And, it's funny from a betting perspective is I still remember back when Ohio State landed Quinshon after Michigan wins the national championship, and Quinshon almost immediately after the championship game announces that he's coming in. I remember placing a futures bet on Ohio State to win the national championship right after Quinshon committed, and then right after Caleb Downs committed, because it was right around that same time. From Alabama. So then I added more into that bet. So that's one thing to keep an eye on as the transfer portal, as you start seeing these big names commit, that the betting odds don't change quite that quickly right away. Just because a big time transfer portal comes in, you might see some changes in the betting odds, but it takes a little bit of time.
Yeah, no doubt about it. How are you feeling about Ohio State going into next year? I know, let's see what happens in the portal, right? But I assume they're going to do a good job in the portal. Is that going to be like 2024 where it was like A+++? Maybe not. I think that's the gold standard. It's going to be hard to replicate that. Is it going to be 2025, which was, what grade are we giving that? Are we being D? Are we being,
who's the top performer? Is it Claire?
Yeah, I thought Claire was okay. Yeah, and I don't know how much of that was his fault, but he didn't put up the numbers I expected. Daniels was a decent get, and you still have him for 2 more years.
Yeah,
he was up and down. He at times he didn't play well, but I still believe in him.
He didn't.
C.J. Donaldson, actually, I was very critical of him. He gets knocked backwards way too much for a big back, but he actually played well in the bowl game. But yeah, they just didn't do. They didn't do really much in the portal at all. So they has to be at least somewhere in between those two.
Right.
It has to be at least somewhere in between those, and hopefully a lot closer to what they did in 2024. And I think they're going to have a lot more numbers this year, Scott, because of all the guys that they're losing. They've already lost 14 scholarship players to the portal. And again, those guys can come back. I do want to real quick read the names for Buckeye fans that are just tuning in, or you want to know the full list of 14 scholarship players that have entered the portal from Ohio State. Bryson Rogers, Lincoln Keenholz, James Peoples, Sam Dixon, Bryce West, Demarion Witten, Jelani Thurman, Jackson Corville, Nick McLarty, C.J. Hicks, Dominic Kirks, Logan George, Devontae Armstrong, but the other twin so far hasn't. Just one of the 2 Armstrong twins have. And then Aaron Scott was the latest one last night. That's the one that, I don't like losing Aaron Scott. He's a 5-star kid from Springfield. Maybe it's a NIL thing and they can bring him back.
Well, and you start talking about trying to project forward to next year. And I think it's so impossible to do so with how much movement that we're going to see. But then the other thing is, we don't know who the offensive coordinator is going to be.
Right.
I trust Ryan Day because generally he's done a great job lately of hiring great coordinators. But we still don't know that. There's just so many unknowns and question marks. Though the good thing is you do know you're going to have your Heisman finalist quarterback back. You know you're going to have the best player in the country back in as far as the running back. You feel good about Bo Jackson coming back. So the main pieces are there. It's just there's so many question marks outside of that.
Yeah, I do not want to see him promote from within, because who would you even promote from within? Tyler Bowen? No, I don't even know if he's he was the offensive coordinator at Virginia Tech, but I don't even think he did a good job as the offensive line coach / run game coordinator this year. There's been a lot of talk about Keenan Bailey, the tight ends coach. You're really going to promote him to offensive coordinator at Ohio State when he's never been an OC. This is Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they need to go outside the program and find the best OC they can get. And Ryan Day, when he was the CEO last year, that worked out pretty well. They won the national championship. I know he loves calling plays.
It did in the end. It took a little maneuverability during the season.
There was a little turbulence there. Was a little turbulence. Speaking of turbulence, Ohio State's 2026 schedule is very tough. We're going to look into that next on The Money.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
This holiday season, whether you're roasting a turkey for 10 or making a baked brie for 2, Kroger has you covered with delivery and free pickup. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
I always tell people I was the luckiest guy in the world. I wanted to be an Army man or a fireman, and I got to do both. As a firefighter, my job was about saving lives. I never thought one day I would be fighting for mine.
After spending his career answering the call to save others, Ken was diagnosed with ALS. Now he's facing his biggest battle, for more time. For 70 years, Muscular Dystrophy Association has been answering the call to help people live longer and more independent lives.
MDA means to me hope.
MDA is leading the way for people living with ALS, muscular dystrophy, and other neuromuscular diseases by accelerating research, advancing care, and advocating to empower families like Ken's.
I wouldn't be living as good of a life with ALS if it wasn't for MDA. MDA is helping people live stronger and love longer. Learn more at mda.org today.
Some journeys start small, with small pause and big purpose.
That's how she looks like. You sweet girl.
Every great partnership begins with the first step.
Bella, let's go.
Guiding them through the world so one day they can guide someone through life. With shared experience, confidence grows, and the path becomes clear. It takes time, patience, and love. But the reward lasts a lifetime.
Hey, good girl, Bella.
You don't just raise a puppy. You raise a future. Become a Dogs Inc. puppy raiser. Give a dog a purpose. Give someone hope.
Learn more at dogsinc.org.
What would it take for my child to only miss half a day of school for treatment?
What would it take to fund a cure for childhood cancer?
It would take all of us to come together to support the research. Join us. Go to childrenscancer.org today.
Get ready for the college football playoff with the $9.99 haircut coupon from Great Clips. Kick off your game day look with convenient online check-in in the Great Clips app. The skilled stylists at Great Clips salons will save your haircut details in clip notes. And with a $9.99 haircut coupon, you'll score elite savings too. Visit greatclips.com/football to get a $9.99 haircut coupon. But hurry, offer ends soon. Great Clips, official sponsor of the college football playoff.
Valid only at participating U.S. salons. Terms apply.
Hey, Aaron, what New Year's resolutions are you and I making this year?
Are you saying that I'm supposed to make New Year's resolutions for both of us?
Aaron, you know that thing where someone buys a gift and then someone else comes along and says, tell them it's from both of us.
Yeah?
Well, I invented that.
Jerry, I'll share my New Year's resolutions with you, but only if you promise to follow through on every one of them.
You've got it, Aaron.
Resolution number 2. I resolved to figure out new ways to make plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians more affordable for everyone.
Like how we give everyone $500 in free plumbing services whenever they buy a new water heater?
That's right, because every unexpected expense should be softened by an unexpected gift.
Like how we give people back all the money they paid us to repair their old HVAC system when they finally replace it with a new one?
That's right, up to $1,500.
We really care about people.
That's right, Jerry, and that's always resolution number 1.
Get ECO.
ECO.
Wounded Warrior Project helps post 9/11 veterans and their families realize what's possible. With support and resources that bring warriors together and empower them to become stronger, both inside and out.
It's possible to begin healing,
to get the help you need,
to find peace.
And as each warrior's needs evolve, so do we. Because these last 20 years are just the beginning. Learn more at woundedwarriorproject.org/possible.
Join Rothman Gammon and Ice every Thursday at 2:30 for Gold Jacket Thursday.
Presented by the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
A new Hall of Famer joins the show every week, but not OJ because he's dead and probably a murderer. The Fan. Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We'll see a mix of clouds and sunshine here for your Sunday, with temperatures warming up into the lower 30s here for this afternoon. Winds will be fairly light at about 5 miles per hour. And then as we head into the work week, we are tracking a nice warming trend as we get back up into the mid-40s here on Monday with a partly cloudy sky. And that's a look at your 10 weather impact forecast. I'm meteorologist Aaron White here on 97.1 The Fan.
The radio couldn't contain us, so we've taken over YouTube. Catch Morning Juice weekday mornings at 6 by searching 971 The Fan. Do it. Scotty Vegas can't even pronounce most of the names of the tennis players he bets on. He doesn't care, as long as they win. You're listening to On the Money.
Sponsored by the Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
If you got a little bored with cupcakes on the Ohio State schedule this past season, guess what? You're not going to be bored next year, because if you look at Ohio State's schedule for 2026, it is a monster, and you'll have the road game, of course, at Texas. But here's the other Big Ten games. We don't have dates yet on these games, but here are the other games that are on the schedule. You have at Indiana, could be defending national champion Indiana Hoosiers.
We used to call that Ohio Stadium West. We're not calling it that anymore.
No. We've got, so Ohio State will also have to go play at Iowa, and they'll be at Nebraska, and then at USC. So that's a pretty tough road schedule when you're saying at Indiana, at USC, at Iowa. That's rough. And then your home games, Illinois, Maryland, Michigan, Northwestern, and Oregon. Dave, you just look at that schedule, and it's like, holy cow, there's 6 games on there that look legitimately very tough.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, at Texas, at Indiana, at Iowa, at Nebraska, Illinois, Michigan. Northwestern could be solid. It's interesting they got Chip Kelly. Oregon and at USC.
Yeah.
And if you're wondering who are the cupcakes, well, Ball State and Kent State.
That's it.
So, and listen, as I said, you're going to play Ball State. You want to play them early in the year before they get really rolling. No, nobody says that. But they're going to lead off with Ball State, and then they go to Texas in week 2. So at least that's not going to be the week 1 game. Although I liked it last year. I think it's cool. It's going to be week 2 though, and then Kent State the next week. And like Scotty said, the Big Ten schedule's not been released, but the non-conference has. So Ball State at Texas, Kent State, and then that's a very, very, very tough.
Yeah,
and I'm trying to think of the teams that are going to be good in the Big Ten that they're not going to play. So I think Washington's going to be good.
Yeah,
Washington will definitely be ranked. They're bringing their quarterback back. Year 3 of Jed Fish. They had a pretty young team this year, and they still finished 9-4, won their bowl game. Man, that's an interesting schedule right there. But if you're Ohio State, that's a good thing about okay, let's look at this schedule.
Let's expand to 16 teams, right?
Without even knowing, I think they will. The deadline is later this month. They initially were supposed to have to make their decision by December 1st if they were going to expand the playoff or keep it at 12, and they pushed it back to late January. So I do think they're going to expand. Why? Because there's going to be more money. If you're Ohio State, without even knowing who the 2 losses would be, if you go 10-2, and hopefully they go 12-0 or 11-1, Ohio State 10-2 at this schedule is an absolute lock to get in the playoff.
No doubt. I mean, and again, you're talking monster road games too, at Texas, at USC, at Indiana. I mean, those are huge. And Oregon is already a semifinalist this year. So it's just an absolutely wild schedule for next year. One little piece of news that kind of got me a little excited this morning. Ohio State has offered Illinois kicker David Olano, a 2-time Big Ten selection, hit 17 of 20 field goals, has a career long of 50 yards, but he is a 2-time All Big Ten kicker. Get that butt here. Get him to Columbus. Actually, more importantly, get his leg to Columbus, because that, to me, very important in this transfer portal. Get a kicker.
Now the Jackson Corville stuff makes a lot more sense, because I was thinking, okay, maybe they told Jackson came to them and said, okay, I'm definitely going to be the kicker now that Jaden's moving on, right? Well, we're actually going to look in the portal, and maybe that he's like, okay, I'm going to go in the portal because we need to make sure we have a massive upgrade. I love that. Get me a kicker. I like that they're already, looking closely, and I really want the linebacker from Pitt. His name is Rasheem Biles. Guess who they're going after? I'm sure other teams are in the mix, but it could be a Miami versus Ohio State battle for the number one linebacker in the portal, Rasheem Biles from Pitt. He was second team All ACC and 2024 first team All Conference this year. He's the number one linebacker on the board. Get me him.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Obviously, the big question over the next week or two is going to be offensive coordinator for Ohio State. So let's play pie in the sky. Dave Biddle, you can hire anyone. I mean, within relative reason, like to be your Ohio State offensive coordinator here. Who would be that guy that you're like, oh my gosh, if Ohio State hires him, that is a home run grand slam hire? Because I'll tell you, Brian Daboll was a name, obviously coached the Giants in the NFL, not a ton of success as a head coach, but a ton of success as a coordinator at the next level. That's the guy to me that I'm like, oh my gosh, I would be doing flips and going crazy if he's the guy.
That would be my guy too. You took the words right out of my mouth. And Scotty, I don't know how you feel, but like typically, like a couple years ago, if you said like somebody of that stature could be offensive coordinator, I'm like, how is he going to get a guy with that resume to come here as a coordinator? Like, well, what happened with Chip Kelly? What happened with Matt Patricia? And it seems like Matt Patricia, I mean, I know for a fact he's very happy. Could an NFL team still back up the truck and make him the highest paid defensive coordinator ever in the NFL? Yeah, that could happen. But I'm hearing Matt Patricia's going to come back unless something crazy happens. So he's already gotten two guys who are NFL head coaches to come here. And I think it might be attractive to Brian Daboll. I would love that.
Yeah. That to me is the grand slam.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's somebody out there that we're not even thinking of. So I remember when he hired Jeff Hafley, I didn't know much about Jeff Hafley, and I quickly read up on him like, okay. And Jeff Hafley ended up being a really good hire. He didn't think he'd be one and done as defensive coordinator. Now Hafley's getting some love. He might be an NFL head coach. He wasn't a very good head coach at Boston College. That's a tough place to win. Just ask Bill O'Brien. Yeah, man, Daboll checks all of the boxes for me.
Yeah, And so, obviously, that's what we're keeping an eye on. We're keeping an eye on the transfer portal. It's amazing because generally when the season's over, we're used to, okay, a little bit of a breather. There is no breather now. Now is an extremely, extremely important time. And it makes me laugh because you're looking at Indiana and Oregon and all these semifinal teams that are hosting all these transfer portal guys while also trying to prepare for a semifinal game. I wish Ohio State was in that boat, but I do wonder, we talked about some of the swings and misses in the portal last year. I do wonder if that was a little bit of a factor. Ohio State was going through the process of trying to obviously get guys ready for a semifinal game last year and kind of missed out on some of the portal hits. So maybe that does play into it a little bit, a little distraction.
Whereas the previous year they lost in the Cotton Bowl.
Yeah, and didn't care about that game, obviously.
At all. And then they had did as good of a job as you could in the portal. And they only got 6 guys. It wasn't like they went out and overhauled their roster. They just it was boom, boom, boom. They went 6 for 6 in the portal in 2024. So hopefully they do a good job again this year. Let me ask you this. So there's obviously a very, very good chance the Big Ten's going to have a third straight national champion. I mean, you look at it, I mean, either Indiana or Oregon's going to be in the national championship game. Those two, despite the fact they're playing each other in the semifinals, those two are your betting favorites to win the national championship. Indiana, then Oregon. Miami's got the third best odds. Ole Miss is a little bit of a long shot. If you want to say 6-1's a long shot. So let me ask you this. Are you rooting for either one of these teams from the Big Ten, and if so, which one?
It's a good question, and I would like to see Indiana do it, to be honest with you. The story is incredible. I was talking to our good friend Anthony Rothman, and just how long it had been since they had won a bowl game, let alone the path that they're on right now. And you know what, Kurt Cignetti, to me, like, you watch him on the sideline, and right now I think he's the best coach in college football. What he's doing, he has some weird mannerisms, odd guy, it feels like, some strange sideline interviews, all that stuff, but just an absolute genius coach. I'm rooting for the Hoosiers.
A little this or that from you there. You're taking, you're getting with Indiana over Oregon. Up next is this or that. This is On the Money.
This is Pause Before You Play, and it's time for more game day picks from local sports fans. You're on the air. Who you got?
Actually, I'm not betting, just chilling and watching the game.
I know that move, a pause. Sounds like you've got a winning strategy.
Exactly. After I set limits and recognize the risk, I knew it was time to stop.
Now that is responsible betting, folks. Sports are fast. Betting shouldn't be. Make a plan at pausebeforeyouplay.org. That's pausebeforeyouplay.org.
While serving in Vietnam, a grenade took my ability to see. Today, I'm a sculptor. Now, my fingers are my eyes. I'm Michael Naranjo. As a veteran, I know the challenges of life can be great. In my art, turning a lump of clay into something beautiful, that is worth doing. Life is like that. We each must use what we can to make things better.
DAV helps veterans like Michael get the benefits they've earned. They help more than 1 million veterans every year in life-changing ways.
Now, I show others how they can create something with their own hands. I know it can do a lot of good. With support from DAV, more veterans can shape their lives into a thing of beauty. My victory is bringing beauty into the world.
Michael Naranjo, may your victories inspire many more. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Wildlife around the globe needs help. And when you help protect them, you become a friend of the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance.
Thank you for being a friend.
Travel down the road and back again.
Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant.
Thank you for helping protect wildlife around the globe. Without you, there's no them. Learn more at sdzwa.org/friend.
If you haven't thought about Buckeye football today, I'm sorry to tell you that you're dead. Our condolences. Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan. If you can't find something to bet on, you're not trying hard enough. You're listening to On the Money.
Sponsored by the Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
Welcome back to On the Money on The Fan. Dave Biddle, Scotty Vegas, Isaiah Jacob. And right about now, it's time for our favorite segment. It is This or That. Hit it, Isaiah. All right. We're going to have a division winner. This has happened before. That's going to have a losing record in the NFL this year. And is not only going to be in the playoffs, they're going to be hosting a first-round game. All right. Let's say there's a scenario where there's an 8-9 division winner, but in that same conference, which I don't think will be the case this year, but just play along, there's a team that's 10-7, and they're going to barely miss the playoffs. Are you you're okay with an 8-9 team making it if they win their terrible division that only has 4? It's not like they win a division that has like 10 teams. It's probably like a 4-team division. Or would you replace the 8-9 team with the 10-7 team that otherwise would not make the playoffs?
I'm actually okay in the NFL with the automatic division. You win the division, you're in. The only issue that I have with it is I don't think they should automatically get to host a playoff game. I think that should go to the top 4 records in the conference. But yeah, I'm okay with the division getting in because you have imbalanced schedules, right? So like based on schedules, it could work out that it was just a tougher division. But again, I'm okay with winning the division and in. I just don't like how the seeding is.
Yeah, I like your idea. Like regardless, they should not be, hosting a first round game. This is why I made it 10-7 and not 9-8. If there's a 2-win difference, I'm getting with 10-7. Now, if it was 8-9 division winner or 9-8 team that was not going to make it, I would go 8-9 division winner because of what you said. But if you have 2 more wins than team in the NFL, especially I hate seeing a team with a losing record get in. I would take the 10-7 team over the 8-9 team.
Yeah, for me, I'm still leaning with the division winner just because I like the divisions mean something in the NFL. It gives it some organization, and it does help with the rivalries, too. Like tonight, the Ravens-Steelers game, that's a huge game because it's going to determine the division. But I also think they shouldn't get the home game. I think it needs to be seeded straight off record. But if you win your division, then I think in the NFL, you should probably be in.
So we talked about this earlier in the show about teams with the bye, the first round bye in the college football playoff are now 1-7 in the quarterfinals. It's crazy. It's a small sample size, but it's significant enough to make note that they're 1-7. And so we know that this college football playoff is likely to expand and probably going to happen soon. So are you guys in favor of expansion for next season? Would you like to see it go to 16 next season? Or are you like, I kind of would like to see another year of it at 12?
I'm okay either way, but I would lean more towards, let's just do 16. Let's do away with the buys. Let's just do top. And I would seed it just 1 through 16. Forget about automatic qualifiers. Forget about this or that. No pun intended. Maybe pun intended. Yeah, I would expand to 16. And furthermore, I know this isn't your question, I think that's what will happen because, again, they postpone the vote and they'll make more money if they go to 16. So I think they're going to go to 16. And that's what I would do this next coming year.
I think it cleans it up significantly if you go to 16 and then you're awarding those top 8 teams with the home game. Right. I wish that it would be 2 rounds of home games, but I think that would also allow, okay, if you're the 1 seed and you're hosting the 16 seed, you still get the reward of having a home game on campus.
And for me, I, as a selfish Ohio State fan, I wanted to move to 16 now because right now Ohio State's in a great window where they can win a lot of championships. And the reason that I wanted to go to 16 now is because 50 years from now, there's going to be asterisks on every single championship that isn't in the model they're using. And so you think about now with like the Super Bowl versus pre-Super Bowl, like the Browns don't have any Super Bowls, but they won championships back in the day. In 2050, they're going to say, oh, Ohio State won a bunch of championships, but that was the 4-team playoff, or that was the 12-team playoff. They didn't run the gauntlet of the 16-team playoff. And so whatever it's going to be for the future, get it into it now. That way Ohio State can take advantage of the window we're in. And I want us to run a bunch of them in a row while we're in the format that's going to be the format of the future.
That's a... Oh, there we go.
Drink your mimosa.
Yeah. That's a really interesting thing. I never thought of it that way. But you are right in the fact that, like, when we think of the NCAA tournament, like back before it was 64 and it was a smaller, you don't think of it as, oh, well, you didn't have to win this many games to win it all. But yeah, I guess it is. But I won't be alive in 50 years for that debate to even matter.
If that happens, then Nick Saban, sorry, man. They're just going to gloss over it. They're going to say, Saban dominated, but it was back then.
What do you have to win? 1 game, 2 games in the playoff? I mean, anybody could win that.
What's really funny is my 9-year-old son is really starting to get into sports and college football and the history of college football. And I was explaining to him, he's like, so before Michigan won that championship a couple years ago, what was the last national championship? And I'm like, well, they actually had a half a national championship. He's like, how do you win half a championship? So then I had to explain it to him, and he's like, well, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Yeah, and it's true. It's like, and it wasn't even that long ago. What was it, 97?
97.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because of the Tide National Championship. The very next year, they go to the BCS.
Yeah,
98.
Right.
I'm still mad Ohio State wasn't in that. It should have been Ohio State, Tennessee, but I digress. All right, guys, let's go to the NFL. There's been a lot of talk, and I think it's so cool the Ravens and Steelers are playing tonight in the winter. Winner's going to be, 9-8? Oh, I guess the Steelers would be 10-7 if they win. But at least whoever wins this game will have a winning record. But beyond that, there's been a lot of talk that, the losing head coach tonight could be coaching his last game. All right, are you getting with the losing coach in the Ravens Steelers? Will be coaching a new team or not coaching that team. We'll say it that way. Mike Tomlin won't be coaching the Steelers if he loses, and John Harbaugh won't be coaching the Ravens anymore if he loses. You getting with that?
I'm not getting with it. I think they're both going to be back. I think that the Ravens win tonight, and I still think that the Tomlin will be the head coach of the Steelers next year.
I agree. I don't think they're going to part ways because, I don't want to use an argument that I don't like when people make. Who else are you going to get? They could get somebody, but I don't think they're ready to move on. The Steelers pride themselves on not firing coaches. I don't think Harbaugh will get fired if he loses tonight. I'm not getting with it, Isaiah.
I also am not getting with it, but I would love it if they did. As a Browns fan, if you want to kick out Tomlin, if you want to kick out Harbaugh, I think they're both great coaches. And if they did get let go right now, they would be some of the first ones that would get picked right back up. And so if the Steelers want to get rid of all their winning seasons in a row, go for it. I would absolutely love it. The one that I have for you guys is for Ohio State's next offensive coordinator. As we're doing the search here, would you rather have them pick up somebody with previous NFL experience like a Brian Daboll? I've seen people toss out, if the Ravens lose tonight, maybe Todd Monken could be someone that they would be interested in. Would you rather have them for 1 or 2 years, or would you rather have them go back into maybe the college search, an up-and-comer that they possibly could have for the next 4, 5, 6 seasons?
I don't believe, here's how I'll answer that. I don't believe that if you're a good coordinator, you're staying as Ohio State's offensive coordinator for 4 to 5 years.
Or like Jeff Hafley.
Yeah, I just don't see long-term coordinators really ever being the thing.
Especially if you're an up-and-comer, because if like you're Jeff
gone.
Hafley, then Boston College is going to snatch you up after 1 year to be the head coach. Yeah. Go ahead. You answer first,
So for me, like I almost look at it as a 1 or 2 year position no matter what. So, give me just the best available for that 1 or 2 years.
Yeah, give me Daboll or Monk, and I think both of those would be excellent. Hopefully that's what Ryan Day's thinking. I just don't understand, because especially I don't want him to promote when I look at who his options would be. Like, who would you even promote to offensive coordinator that's currently on the staff? I don't get it. Yeah, I would definitely be getting with even if it's a hired gun, give me that.
And I feel like it's the same as well. I agree with you guys. And the reason for me as well is sometimes you need that outside perspective. Like even like Hartline this year getting promoted in, like it feels like Ryan Day still has his hand on the wheel. Where it's like, I love Ryan Day. I like that he's here. I like that he's our coach. But sometimes you need that outside, that Chip Kelly to bring in new thoughts and the confidence too. Chip Kelly wasn't working under Ryan Day. I'm sure when he came in, he said, these are my ideas. This is the offense that I like. And they can work together to figure out the best way for the Buckeyes rather than Hardline, who's coming up learning under Ryan Day to where, I mean, are their offenses different? Probably not.
Well, and speaking to that too, Isaiah, I think the idea of having Chip Kelly around for that college football playoff was huge, right? College football kind of turned into that NFL model a little bit. And so having the experience of Chip Kelly with the NFL helped. And Chip Kelly wasn't out there like full-time recruiting and transfer portal and all the other distractions. Guess what? Brian Hartline was. So there were a lot of, I think, so many distractions for Ohio State over this last couple weeks as well. Whereas Chip Kelly, a veteran offensive coordinator, that's all he's doing is just the guru of the offense. His entire focus was game planning for the next game. It wasn't like Brian Hartline where he's out recruiting or other guys where they're out looking at portal, that stuff. So I like the idea of a brilliant NFL mind coming in and just designing the offense. All right, my next one. Obviously, one of the complaints for Ohio State fans is the pace of play in the in that game against Miami, and that led to the loss where you only get 3 possessions in the second half. Ohio State played so slow. Do you think going forward Ohio State will make a change, or will they go back to that philosophy of, okay, well, we're playing chess while others are playing checkers, which is what a lot of people were saying when it was like, oh, we're playing less plays in the year, we're playing at a slower pace, all that stuff. Do you think that will go out the window next year after the fails over the last 2 games?
Gosh, I don't know. I hope so. I'll say yes. I'll get with that they will do up-tempo, because hopefully they've realized you can't all season, play like you're like a farm tractor and then think you're going to turn it into a Ferrari. You need to be a Ferrari the entire year. And it does, they did feel like they were playing chess and everybody else was playing checkers. Turns out not so much, because you can't just flip a switch and then like, now we're going to do up-tempo. They haven't been good in 2-minute drills. So hopefully, and I'll say yes, I am getting with it.
Yeah, and gosh, you talked about this. You've got more talent. You got the better team. You got the better offense. You want more at-bats and more possessions for the better team, for the better offense. It just makes more sense. If you're the worst team, you try and slow games down and less possessions.
And it feels like this season, too, a lot of us were giving Ryan Day, because we're coming off the championship, the benefit of the doubt. Like, he knows what he's doing. He just ran the whole playoff format this past year. They're trying to play it slow. And then you look at Kurt Cignetti in Indiana. Were they playing it slow this year? They were pounding every single team. And where are they? Still playing right now. And when you do have a season where you underperform in the playoff, you played slow all year, it wasn't exactly an exciting year for an Ohio State fan as a regular season fan, and then you get to the offseason after you don't win many games in the playoff, it's going to be a really long offseason for Ryan Day, especially because the regular season was meh. Like, we won every game, but did we ever look amazing? Not really on offense.
I skipped over yours last time. Do you want to step up to the plate, Isaiah?
Yeah, I'll run one more. Coming off of the New Year's Eve, New Year's Day games, which I absolutely love the New Year's Day, didn't love the New Year's Eve. Are you guys getting with keeping college football on Saturdays for all games? So that would take out the New Year's Day, also take out the New Year's Eve, but then you're getting the national championship getting moved to Saturday instead of the Monday, which I absolutely despise. And so you're moving all college football games, keeping them on Saturdays, or are you keeping the random weekday games?
What's funny about the Monday, it's like almost become like tradition now for both college basketball and football, college football. The championship game's on a Monday night.
Mm-hmm.
So I've gotten used to it. I've covered several of them. I would rather keep it the way it is because New Year's Day to me is so special for college football.
Yes, I'm like that. I loved, despite the fact that it really sucked losing on New Year's Eve, I did love that we had the 3 games back to back to back on New Year's Day. I've always dreamed of like that playoff format being New Year's Day. So I think the only change maybe is you could maybe move up the season a week, play everybody week 0, and kind of move so that maybe the semifinals are New Year's Day. But yeah, for me, I absolutely love New Year's Eve, New Year's Day.
Yeah, I love the New Year's Day games are great. Obviously, as Buckeye fans, the New Year's Eve have been pretty brutal for us the past couple that we've been a part of. But I hate them. I hate the national championship game on Monday. Last year for the Buckeyes game, it was great. Obviously, getting the win, but then having to go to work on Tuesday for me. I'm an early person when I wake up in the morning. It was a brutal Tuesday morning, but I had to celebrate the win either way. Would love for the national championship game to be on Saturday, but New Year's Day is a great day.
All right, up next is Best Bets, and I have one more this or that to toss out there, and it is about the Cleveland Browns. This is On the Money.
We know everything about you. We know you love the Buckeyes. We know you love the Jackets. We know you're wearing a red shirt. I just freaked the hell out of someone. The fan.
Hey, Aaron, what New Year's resolutions are you and I making this year?
Are you saying that I'm supposed to make New Year's resolutions for both of us?
Aaron, you know that thing where someone buys a gift and then someone else comes along and says, tell them it's from both of us.
Yeah?
Well, I invented that.
Jerry, I'll share my New Year's resolutions with you, but only if you promise to follow through on every one of them.
You've got it, Aaron.
Resolution number 2. I resolved to figure out new ways to make plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians more affordable for everyone.
Like how we give everyone $500 in free plumbing services whenever they buy a new water heater?
That's right, because every unexpected expense should be softened by an unexpected gift.
Like how we give people back all the money they paid us to repair their old HVAC system when they finally replace it with a new one?
That's right, up to $1,500.
We really care about people.
That's right, Jerry, and that's always resolution number 1.
Get Eco.
ECO.
What does it mean to give 100%? It means giving everything you've got, every single day. That's why the V Foundation gives 100% of every dollar donated directly to cancer research. So no matter what you give, we give 100% for life-saving research victories, 100% to making new discoveries that lead to innovative treatments, 100% to groundbreaking cancer research that could one day save someone you love. We know cancer research is working. Over the last 30 years, an estimated 4.5 million lives have been saved thanks to game-changing research breakthroughs. But there is more work to do. That's why the V Foundation gives 100% of every dollar donated directly to cancer research. We will always give 100% to accelerate victory over cancer.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Donate today at v.org.
It's been a real journey since 2014 when I first had my injury. I realized that my home was just not working for me and that it was time to ask for help. Homes for Our Troops is really giving me my life back. The shower allows me to go in and turn around with my chair, pull down storage racks, automated door systems, hours of my morning given back to me. Adaptive sports are a huge part of my life, a huge part of my healing journey as well. Homes for Our Troops helped with making sure that I had a home gym so that I can continue to train. This past year, I was able to host Thanksgiving in my home. And it was the first time I was able to have my whole family in one place and I was able to contribute to the meal. There are a lot more veterans in need and Homes for Our Troops is going to be there to help them too.
Homes for Our Troops builds and donates specially adapted custom homes nationwide for severely injured post 9/11 veterans and enables them to rebuild their lives. Join our mission at hfotusa.org.
Protect your engine with Quaker State and save big money at Menards. Quaker State Full Synthetic Motor Oil is engineered to give your engine more power, more wear protection, longer engine life, and more performance with improved resistance to engine stress at high engine speeds or under heavy loads. Check out all of our Quaker State products in store and check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
We are the keepers of the wild, America's original and most invested conservationists. For more than 80 years, we've been committed to conserving wildlife and the natural landscapes that define our nation. From rugged alpine ridgelines to peaceful tall grass prairies, we've supported the conservation of more than 36 million acres of American wildlands. Our funding has led to cleaner water, fresher air, and improved wildlife habitat. From abundant fish and waterfowl populations to robust deer and elk herds, nothing is more important than maintaining wild spaces for adventurers to explore and wildlife to thrive. We are America's hunters and target shooters, stewards of the American outdoors.
America's hunters and target shooters, along with firearm, ammunition, and archery manufacturers, have invested more than $46 billion to help state fish and wildlife agencies manage and protect wildlife and wildlands across America. For more information, visit outdoorstewards.org.
My name is DeMar Hamlin. I play for the Buffalo Bills, and I play safety. CPR saved my life. I've teamed up with the American Heart Association as a national ambassador to help create a nation of lifesavers, turning bystanders into lifesavers through CPR education and access to AEDs. Nearly 3 out of 4 cardiac arrests that don't happen in hospitals happen in homes. Join me to ensure everyone has the chance to live longer, healthier lives. Visit heart.org/nation.
The Jackets are back at Nationwide for a battle with the Penguins. Live fan coverage starts Sunday at 2:30.
Sponsored by Atlas Butler Heating and Cooling.
Proud to be your flagship home of the Columbus Blue Jackets, The Fan. Enjoy all the football this weekend, but remember to join us for Reaction Monday.
Sponsored by the Roofing Guys.
The Fan. And now back to a show featuring 2 dudes who've been kicked out of their homes by angry wives. This pretty much sums up every show we have here on The Fan. You're listening to On the Money.
Sponsored by the Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
All right, I got a best bet for tonight's Steelers-Ravens game, and I'll also give out my national championship pick. However, Dave, you have another this or that, so let's finish out the this or that.
All right, speaking of coaches that might lose their job, there's been a lot of talk this could be Kevin Stefanski's last game with the Browns, win or lose. I don't think they're going to base it just on today's game in Week 18. I hope they don't. Are you guys getting with this will be Kevin Stefanski's last game as the head coach of the Cleveland Browns?
I would think so. Yeah, I would think that and I think he'll be hired somewhere else relatively quickly too. But I think, yes, this will be it for him.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that just seems like it's time, even though I do think he's a good coach. I know Browns fans are probably ready to move on. This is a man, and I know awards can be misleading. I'm going to preface this with that. But he's the 2-time NFL Coach of the Year. I would trade him for Zach Taylor in a heartbeat, but that's not going to happen. The Bengals are not going to get rid of Zach Taylor, which is frustrating. But yes, Isaiah, I'm getting with this will be Kevin Stefanski's last game today.
I believe as well it will be his final game. As a Browns fan, I'm glad that we brought in Kevin Stefanski. He did bring some structure, especially in those early years with Baker, taking us to the playoffs. It got us out of what was like a horrible 10-year run. It feels like the back end of his tenure here has kind of got us back into that rut, but still, the program that he took over versus where it is now is still a lot stronger, and I'll be interested to see when Stefanski goes, what his next opportunity will be. Will he be somewhere as an offensive coordinator? I'm thinking more than likely. I don't think he gets another head coaching position going forward. But
Ohio State?
Oh, you think so? I think I've had enough of Stefanski for right now for me.
Would you take him as OC for the Buckeyes?
I don't know.
I don't think he'd do that. I'm just being a little facetious given our
too much for me.
We were talking about Daboll and Monk, and man, how about Stefanski? No, I'm just joking.
The stain isn't off yet in Ohio. He needs to go to another state and go make some plays happen, and then maybe he can come back to Ohio at some point.
All right, let's hit up some best bets. And I'm going to follow history here. And I got a stat for you guys. I mentioned it earlier in the show, but the underdog in the Ravens-Steelers series, the underdog is 30-12 against the spread since 2005. So last 20 years, 71% of the time, the underdog has been the play. And it continues with Tomlin and John Harbaugh, 25-7 against the spread when those two have gone up against each other. The underdog, 25 wins, 7 covers for the team that were favored. So the spread today on Steelers-Ravens, the game's in Pittsburgh, but the Ravens are a 3.5-point favorite. I know how bad the Steelers looked last week. I know the excitement of the Ravens that they're getting Lamar Jackson back, but so many times you have that overreaction, the overcorrection. So I am going to take the plus 3.5 in that game. And then the other thing is looking at the college football national championship odds. If you were to ask me who I think wins Indiana, Oregon, to me, it's very close. I think I would be about 50-50 on that game. I'm more confident that Miami knocks off Ole Miss. I'm probably about 60-40 that happens. So I think the value on Miami to win the national championship at 3-1 is pretty good. Maybe it's the bias of watching them and what their defensive line did against Ohio State and how tough they can run the ball and all that stuff. But the experience of having Carson Beck, I like Miami at the plus 300 to win the national championship. Those are my two best bets. Dave, your best bet?
Yeah, I really like the under for T. Higgins today. It's 52.5 receiving yards for T. Higgins. Now, if this was just a regular game, I would stay away from it. But I just feel like, first of all, he's just one hit at any point from getting taken out of this game. He's been dealing with concussions. He's going to play, but and I think even if he does get a few catches, I think he might not play in the second half. I like the under of T. Higgins. 52.5. And let me ask you guys this. So I was looking at Myles Garrett. I'm convinced he's going to get a sack today. You're not getting much value if you just want to say player to record a sack. Minus 275 for Myles Garrett is trying to get the record today. And he usually tears up the Bengals offensive line, which has actually improved a lot, low bar. It's actually turned into a decent offensive line. But if you want to get a little crazy with the cheese whiz, if you want to go 2 sacks for Myles Garrett, you're getting plus 160.
Okay.
I think there might be some value.
Get it done.
I think there might be some value there. I think that what I'm going to do, though, I'm going to do a 2-leg parlay with T. Higgins, 52.5, and then the Browns plus 7.5. Because I feel like I see why the Bengals are favored. That just seems like a little too high. Especially, but the Browns aren't going to be laying down. They're going to be trying getting Myles Garrett his sacks. Now, if he gets his sack and maybe gets another sack, maybe they'll sit him down. But yeah, give me the one I really like, those T. Higgins under 52.5.
One other note.
Yeah.
Huge game at the Shot tomorrow night.
Yes.
All right, Ohio State gets the win Friday night. It wasn't always pretty, but they got the win over Rutgers. Nebraska is very, very good, and that is a 6:30 tip at the Shot. Come on, basketball bucks. Let's get it done.
Nebraska's undefeated.
Yeah. Just beat Michigan State. That's a good Nebraska team. Yeah. Big opportunity for OSU Hoops to get a signature win.
That is our show for today. Thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate it very much. For Scotty Vegas and Isaiah Jacob, I am Dave Biddle. Up next on the Fan is pregame coverage of the Cleveland Browns at the Cincinnati Bengals. This has been On the Money.
Bo Bishop is a media legend. We have no idea where the other guys came from. Bishop and Friends.
Weekdays from